My guest for today is James Apietu Ankra. He's a former member of parliament for Wolowa and West Achim, and he's in the studio. Thanks for joining me. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Have we met this year?
No.
Okay, we haven't met, but you've been in the studio.
Yes.
Okay, great. I will say Happy New Year to you, even though it's way past the first month and we're into the second month.
That's fine.
More importantly, we have to talk about critical issues. The president, you know, is in Iran. Okay, you've been monitoring his movements there.
Sure.
Right. But he's been speaking a lot because he's very optimistic that the upcoming general election would be a lot more peaceful than even we've seen in the past, and despite all the animosity and the turbulence in the political arena. According to him, he says it's going to be a normal situation. What do you make of his comment, especially since he's speaking to the international community?
Well, let me say a very good morning to viewers. I think it's something good coming from the president. It's reassuring because he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and all the security agencies are under him. And it behooves on him to make sure that we have a peaceful election and everybody, because what has been going on previously, it's not good. It doesn't actually speak well of a country. Anytime there's elections, you know, there's so much anxiety, people wanting to even leave the country before and coming back after the elections. And I don't think it's too good for a country, and especially so for investment. I mean, for foreign investment and foreign inflow of investment. So coming from the president of the nation, that he is going to make sure that the election is peaceful, and he's assuring Ghanaians that we'll have a peaceful elections. I think it's good. I mean, he's done well, but then he should walk his talk.
Meaning what?
Meaning that he holds the key to the peace in the elections.
Oh, no more the Electoral Commission? I thought that was a refrain prior to the president's own comments.
No, the Electoral Commission would conduct the elections, but when it comes to making sure that the citizenry have their peace, it's the remit of the president. He is like.
Well, the president has been in power once before, organizing a general and presidential election, so to speak. So this will be the second time round that he will be supervising as a sitting president. So,
right.
So it's not.
Well, perhaps I mean, on hindsight, he's examined and reviewed the position and noticed that there were areas that he did not do well. So this time around. So I believe that, like the saying goes, that it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. I mean, so he's only reiterating that where he perceived or saw the loopholes, where he saw that things were not right, he's going to make sure that these things are done well.
Well, very interesting then. There's been acute water shortage in parts of Accra, but other sections of the country as well. We have the northern region, for example. We're told consistently, and by experience also, you have it in the central region, particularly the regional capital, Cape Coast, etc. Where consistently, we're also told by the Ghana Water Company, is because of sometimes power fluctuations, and more recently, because some of the water bodies from where they source the generation of water have indeed dried up because of the seasons that we're in. What do you make of the current circumstances in which the ordinary consumer want to find themselves?
You know what, my brother? I think we Ghanaians don't learn from certain history.
Which history is that?
The history was that years back, our forebears and ancestors said, oh, there were certain times and days that you could not even go into certain rivers and streams. Okay. And they have their own ideas as to why they didn't want, because they knew that if we persistently and constantly went there, the likelihood of people polluting or making, doing things that will bring the water to you. If you look at, I will take the eastern region, because I know that's where the Densu takes its source. From my own village, you could see that people have farmed just close to the edges of the rivers that feed the Densu River. Get to the Abuchen River flows into Ayensu. The Ayensu River flows into the Densu. Get there now and you see In Saum, just across the bridge, in Saum, after the bridge, see what is happening. It's been taken over by scrap dealers. And I've been wondering, what is the district assembly doing? So, and it is the same thing at Asamankese.
So your conclusion is the consistent encroachment on these water bodies?
And absolutely, and then the pollution, that the things that go on close to the rivers have accounted for these things. Previously, you could not do that. The chiefs will sanction you if you did that. If you did anything, that could pollute or, as it were, degrade the environment close to the rivers, the chiefs will take you on. Now we have the district assemblies, the local governance, people who are supposed to look at it, and they don't care. People look on, the environmental people are looking on. I mean, how on earth could you have a scrap dealer using the banks of the Densu River at Nsaom as what do you call it, the closing point where they receive and load scrap? That's close, not quite 10 meters to the river. So I am not surprised that these things are happening. But I heard the deputy minister for water resources, where they have been, not Samzia, the other, and say, they want to send security men to go and police. I think that is way off the mark. The district assemblies, municipal assemblies do have bylaws.
That's the local authorities.
The local authorities, the local governance, they have bylaws. They should see to it that these things are not done. Because if you keep doing that, what we are doing is that we are just gradually getting the water. If we don't take care, we will get to a point where we'll be importing water like other countries. And it's getting serious. Because I'm surprised that for so many IUs in Samaruru that I haven't seen the Densu River like a playing field where children can even go and play football in the river. So we need to be up and doing, especially the local governors, those who have been given charge of taking care, making sure that these things are not done.
All over the world, the sources of water or water bodies are the main areas that they generate water for populations, etc. So we can't get anywhere to get access to water than some of these natural streams, rivers, lagoons, etc. How then do we need to make sure that the education needs to go on consistently in consonance with what steps that the authorities also need to take as far as enforcement would be?
Well, I believe that agencies like the EPA and like I've said, the local governance, they have bylaws. The local authorities have bylaws. It should bite. Then people will know that, look, you don't go and do washing in the Densu River where, normally you will not be allowed to do that. And like I said, that our local people have even though people thought that it was superstition to say, on all certain days you don't go fishing, certain days you don't go into certain rivers. There are certain rivers they will not allow you to go and do washing or go and take your bath in this. And if you did that and you were, as you were apprehended, you will be fined by the local. Why are we not implementing these things? Because the laws are there, the local bylaws are there. So what we need is that, yes, we will do the education, but trust me, people will flout the rules, and I am saying that let the laws work. And if it does that, then people would be, as it were, up and doing, and know that if you did that, you are causing a problem which eventually will affect all of us.
In some of the areas, we're told that the consistent encroachment by Galamsey operators has also led to consistent pollution of some of these water bodies.
Sure.
So then who do we hold more responsible?
Well,
perhaps,
at the end of the day, some people have been given the mandate to rule, to govern, and therefore they have a responsibility to the whole nation to make sure that these things do not happen. The Brim River, that's where I can speak to. It's terrible. When we were kids, we knew that you could just go and fetch it and drink the water there and then. Today, I don't know how much chemicals that Ghana water needs to turn it into potable water for people to drink, and it's becoming worse and worse. We keep talking about it and virtually doing nothing about these things. So I am still insisting that we have the laws. It is those who have been given the mandate and ready to implement and to make sure that the law bites should do that to save all of us from this kind of trouble.
Very much related is the fact that if we don't have consistent rains, it means that the water bodies also will not be up to the levels for which we would consistently be getting access to potable water. That also has a great link to how the agricultural sector, especially crop farming, also does well in terms of production or growth for the year. And it's been estimated that could be the fate we will be suffering for the year, where there could be reduction in crops.
Absolutely. See, what's happening is that now we're going to go on a vicious circle. You don't have the rains because you are degrading the environment. You are virtually turning our whole farming lands into a desert. Farming very close to the water bodies, doing, because at the end of the day, by my little reason is that when there's evaporation, that goes up from the water bodies and then it comes back to us. Now we are cutting all the trees along all the banks of the river, exposing the rivers to the sunshine. So we are not getting the evaporation that we're supposed to have. These are the water bodies that we need to also do irrigation in order to be able to produce where there's we don't have the natural rain water coming. So if we can't have water bodies to do our irrigation, it means that we will have a problem if it doesn't rain. So, like I said, it's a vicious circle that we ourselves, we are just cutting our noses to spite our face. So we need to take a very serious view of what is happening.
Well, we have to move on to the subject of energy because the chairman of the Energy Commission, Dr. Kwame Ampofo, has stated that the power crisis that bedeviled the country for the last 3 years has been resolved. And Ghana is already in the last 3 years being bedeviled with severe water or power crisis. And this has also led to some load shedding at some peak times or peak periods. But whether this very assertion is true or not is something that is a lot more debatable than we can think about. What do you make of Dr. Kwame Ampofo's comments?
Unfortunately, my good friend Dr. Ampofo, who was my colleague in Parliament, I don't agree with it. Look, I think that whether we are having consistent power or we don't have, is the people who are feeling it. They should be able to tell whether the thing has been resolved.
What do you think? You are also a consumer. I am a consumer as well.
I think
and for the various viewers we have, they're also consumers. What do you think?
I don't think that the crisis had completely been eliminated. No.
But it's ameliorated.
Absolutely, that one, yes. I know that it's improved, the situation has improved. But to go to the extent of saying that it has been resolved, that's where I have a problem with my good friend Dr. Ampofo. That that is not true. So he should leave whether it's been resolved or not, they should leave it to the consumers. They should go ahead and be doing what they're supposed to be doing and leave the end product, whether the product is good or not, is the buyer or the user who will tell. So it's not for you to be telling what your product has done.
But if it improves, that's the best thing, Mr. Pietro Ankara.
No, it's good.
At least it means that there will be consistent supply for consumers, but also effective supply for industry.
Industry, especially.
And the various offices and workplaces.
Absolutely. I mean, that one, I have to say that they've done well by making sure that it's because industry was collapsing, manufacturing was unaffected, private businesses and that eventually affects employment, which is not good. So it's good that we're having some improvement, but we should not be quick to say that it has been resolved, because if you do that and the next day something happens.
So you're saying we should be circumspect and cautious in making some of those
statements. Absolutely, Ghanaians will not forgive him if something.